Hi, everybody, and welcome back for some more of the one and only Ivan. Thank you to those of you who reached out with your thoughts after yesterday. I'll read a few of them here. Graham is of the belief that the zoo painting is missing either Stella or Ivan, or maybe both. Owen says that he is going to paint himself in the zoo also. And oh boy, I had that last one. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Oh, Molly. Molly, this is the other one I wanted to say. Needs to add Ruby's family. So those are three of the different ones that I heard from you about last time. So, sorry, I was trying to read my notes there. All right, so let's pick right back up where we left off at a very short chapter called The 7 O'Clock Show on page 193. During the last show of the day, Ruby seems tired. When she stumbles, Mac reaches for the claw stick. I tense, waiting for her to strike back. Ruby doesn't even flinch. She just keeps plodding along, and after a while, Snickers jumps onto her back. 12 is this chapter. I lie in my cage with Bob on my stomach. We are watching Julia do her homework. She doesn't seem to be enjoying it. I hope you are. I can tell because she is sighing more than usual. Again, for the 100th time, or maybe the 1000th, I wonder what is missing from my painting. And for the 100th time, or maybe the 1000th, I don't have an answer. Dad, Julia says as George passes by with a mop, can I ask you a question? May I, George corrects. Ask away. Julia glances down at a piece of paper. What's the difference between the word spelled Principal and the one spelled Principle? The first one is the head of the school, like Mrs. Garcia or Mrs. Hughes. The second one is a belief that helps you know what's right or wrong, he smiles. For example, it's my principles to do my daughter's homework for her. Oh, I'm sorry. It's against my principles to do my daughter's homework for her. Julia groans. If I'm going to be an artist when I grow up, why do I need to know how to spell? With a laugh, George walks off. Poor Julia, I think. Gorillas get by just fine without knowing how to spell. All those endless letters, those sticks and circles and zigzags, just filling up books and magazines and billboards and candy wrappers. Words. Humans love their words. I leap up. Bob goes flying straight into my pool. A word. You know how I feel about wet feet, Bob yells. He scrambles out of the water, shaking each foot in dismay. I look out my window at the billboard. I can still hear Mac's voice in my head. Come to the Exit 8 Big Top Mall and Video Arcade, home of the one and only Ivan, Mighty Silverback. I count to 12, and then I count again, just to be sure. Interesting. H is this chapter. I lay out 16 pieces of poster board. 4 down, 4 across. A perfect square, or an array. What are you up to? Bob demands. I'm guessing it doesn't involve sleep. It has to do with the billboard. That sign's a monstrosity, particularly since I'm not even on it. I grab my bucket of red paint. You're not on the billboard because you're not in the show, I point out. Technically, I don't even live here, Bob says with a sniff. I am homeless by choice. I know, I'm just saying. I study the billboard, and then I make 2 flat lines, like broom handles. Another fat line connects them. I stand back. What do you think? What is it? No, wait, let me guess. A ladder? Bob says. Not a ladder, I say. A letter. At least I think that's what they're called. I have to make 3 more. Bob cuddles up next to Not Tag. Oh, why? He asks with a yawn. Because then I'll have a word. A very important word. I dip my fingers into the paint. What word? Bob asks. Home. Bob closes his eyes. That's not so important, he says quietly. Nervous. All day long, I knuckle walk in circles around my cage. I'm so nervous that I can't nap. I can't even eat. Well, not much anyway. I'm ready to show Julia what I've made. It has to be Julia. She's an artist. Surely she'll truly look at my painting. She won't notice the smudges and tears. She won't care if the pieces don't quite fit. She'll see past all of that. Surely Julia will see what I have imagined. I watch Ruby trudge sullenly through the 4 o'clock show, and I wonder, what will happen if I fail? What if I can't make Julia understand? But of course I know the answer. Nothing. Nothing will happen. Ruby will remain the main attraction at the Exit 8 Big Top Mall and Video Arcade, conveniently located off I-95, with 2 shows at 4, 7, and 2, 365 days a year. Year after year after year. That's what will happen. Showing Julia. It's time to show my work. The mall is silent except for Thelma, the macaw, who is practicing a new phrase. Uh-oh! Julia is finishing her homework. George is sweeping outside. Mac has gone home for the night. I grab Knot Tag and carefully pull out the folded papers. So many paintings, page after page, piece after piece of my giant puzzle. I pound on my glass and Julia glances over. Fingers trembling, I hold up one of my paintings. It's brown and green, a corner piece. Julia smiles. I display another picture, and then another, and another, each one a tiny part of the whole thing. Julia looks confused. But what is it? She asks. She shrugs. It doesn't matter. It's pretty just as it is. Uh-oh, says Thelma. No, I think. No, it does matter. More paintings. George calls out to Julia. He's done for the night. Grab your backpack. And hurry, it's late, he says. Gotta go, Ivan, Julia says. Julia doesn't understand. I have to find the right pieces. I dig through the pile. They're here somewhere. I know they are. I find one, another. I try to hold 4 of them up against the glass. Bob, I say, help me, hurry! Bob grabs some paintings with his teeth and drags them to me. One by one, I shove pictures through the window crack. They crumple up and tear. There are too many pieces. My puzzle is too big. Careful, Ivan, Julia says. Those might be worth millions someday. You never know. She arranges the paintings into a neat stack. I suppose Mac is going to want to sell these at the gift shop. Still, she doesn't understand. I shove more out the hole, and more, all of them, one after another. So, Ivan's been painting, has he? George says as he puts on his coat. A lot, says Julia with a laugh. A whole lot. You're not taking all of those home with you, are you? George asks. I mean, no offense to Ivan, but they're kind of just blobs. Julia thumbs through the towering stack of paintings. They might not be blobs to Ivan. Let's leave those by the office, George suggests. Mac will want to try selling them. Although why anyone would pay $40 for a finger painting a 2-year-old could do, I have no idea. I like Ivan's work, Julia says. He puts his feelings into them. He puts his hair into them, George says. Julia waves goodbye. Night, Ivan. Night, Bob. I press my nose against the glass and watch her walk away. All my work, all my planning, wasted. I look at Ruby, sleeping soundly, and suddenly I know she will never leave the Big Top Mall. She'll be here forever, just like Stella. I can't let Ruby be another one and only. Alright, we will pick back up tomorrow with page 207. I will see you then.